There's this Dr. Joe Dispenza guy. He kind of sums it up pretty well for the medical community. It's like basically your personality creates your personal reality through the things that you think about, the things that you focus on, and how you feel. And those things create your experience on this plane. And your things you think about, things you focus, and things you feel, those are the only things that I have any control over. I have no control over if a tree falls, but if the tree falls and it scares me, I get to choose how I want to react or respond to that.
Well, thanks, man, for taking the time to come out here with me today, your precious time. It's been a beautiful evening. We're sitting here at mile 69 at Dix Creek Gap.
Yep.
Do you mind just introducing yourself? What's your name, man?
I'm the sun god.
Sun God.
Yep.
So, we were talking a little bit earlier, and I feel like it'd probably be impossible for me to, in this same conversation, kind of go over everything that you've done in kind of your hiking journey. So I'm just going to list them right off the bat here, and you help correct me. You've done the PCT in what years?
19, 20, 21.
19, 20, 21.
Mm-hmm.
Then you did the CDT, right?
Yep.
And then that led you to here. Led you to 2023, or
Yeah.
did you do any other hikes prior?
Before that, I did the Foothills Trail and hiked across South Carolina on the Palmetto.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So you've been making your way on the trails, and you're out here on the Appalachian Trail. It's quite an accomplishment, man. I want to just congratulate you on those hikes, and more specifically, we're 2020. That's one of the things you first brought up when I first met you here. I think that's super cool. I'm a fellow 2020er. What'd you call us earlier?
Either COVID kids or plague hikers.
COVID kids. I haven't heard of that one, but I like it, man.
Yep.
So, all that being considered, how did this whole journey get started? How long ago did you kind of get into hiking? Actually, let's kind of take it way, way back. Where did you end up growing up and spending the majority of your life? Have you traveled? Have you been in one particular place? Or
Growing up, I spent most of my life in California, but we did spend a year in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved back to California. Grew up playing basketball. Grew up in the gym. Didn't really go outdoors much. Family went on a couple backpacking trips or a couple camping trips.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't necessarily end that well, so we didn't do that many of that after, we didn't do so much of that afterwards.
Yeah.
And so, I went into the military at a younger age, at 19. And then when the military tells you to go, it's time to go out into the woods kind of thing, it's not necessarily something you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, I went to war, and then wanted to find some healing. I realized that there was something going on.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple strokes, and so it was time to make some big changes in my life. So quit drinking, quit smoking cigarettes, and then started becoming more active.
Mm-hmm.
Changed my diet to becoming vegan, and full on vegan. And then as I wanted to continue my healing, I was like, well, what else can I do? I ended up moving to South Carolina, and I was like, man, I used to go fishing all the time. I used to like being out in the woods, so maybe go out into the woods and go fishing. So I have a brother out there, and we go fishing and stuff. And then the whole being vegan thing, it kind of set something in your mind a little bit. For me, it did, to where I also didn't want to fish to harm because it's going to pierce the fish or whatever. So for me, it was like a sensitive thing. So then I still want to go out into the woods. So I'd go out with my brother and go out into the woods, and he'd go fishing, and I'd just find a place to meditate. And then I found out you can hike from South Carolina, I mean, from one part of the country to the next. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And found some trails that I was like, I wanted to get a reconnection, like a more positive association with the desert. So the PCT had about 700 miles of it. Turned out to be a very wet year, so it wasn't that much of a desert, but it was beautiful. We had a super bloom, and next year, wasn't planning on hiking the PCT, but was going to go do the Hayduke. The Hayduke kind of shut down in March of 2020 because COVID. So went to visit family in California, and it's 3 weeks of sitting in the house and doing a little backyard hikes. And the next thing you know, let me just go do the section of the PCT. And about second night, I was like, let's just go to Canada. And the next year, I went to PCT again. Things just lined up, and I had one of my best experiences on trail. I really just experienced the trail the way I wanted to experience it. It was nice. And now, then the CDT last year, robust trail, awesome people that I met, that I still keep in touch with, and now I'm on the AT, and I've heard so many things from other past AT hikers that come over to like the PCT or the CDT, and just had great things to say about the community and the hike in general. Yes, it may be a hard hike. It can be, tough on the body, but only one person had something negative to say about the AT, and they were kind of like a negative person anyway, so I just threw that one out and rolled with the positive. Haven't been let down yet, 69 miles later.
That's awesome, man. So I'd like to rewind just a little bit.
Okay.
You get out of the military. I don't know what you're doing after, but at some point you say that you really realized that you had to address some issues in your life.
Yeah.
How long was that process from when you got out to when you started to consciously be aware that some things needed to be addressed?
Actually, they say most people wait until there's like a crisis. And that's kind of what caught my attention. Is when I had 2 strokes. So I had one, and then I kind of took a nap and slept it off, and still felt a little weird for like not even a week, and then I had the second one. And that just kind of put a lot of things in perspective. I wasn't very happy, and kind of the vibe I was sending out to the universe, to the world, was I didn't want to be here anymore. I was just not happy with life. And somehow, some way, and then I get 2 strokes, and put things in perspective, like, you know what? No, I do kind of want to stay. I want to stay around here. There's things I can do. It doesn't have to be bad, I get to choose how I want to look at things. And I learned that once you choose how you look at things, the things that you're looking at change. And so that was it's been a nice little grind. So got out in 2005. I had 2 strokes in 2013. So about 8 years it took me to kind of realize that I had PTSD from going to war, that I had a drinking problem, that I had a lot of bad habits that weren't helping me be happy. So I decided to make some changes.
Gotcha. So at what point did you have any exposure to, I know you talked a little bit about some experiences you had when you were younger, going out and doing things, but do you remember in particular one moment when you first discovered that there were long trails? What was the significance behind that moment, do you think?
Oh gosh, yes. It was right after I realized that I can do whatever I want. And I was really free. And I found out that it was actually the Appalachian Trail. Then my brother was like, well, there's the Appalachian Trail. And I was like, what's the Appalachian Trail? And he was like, it goes from Georgia to Maine. I was like, you mean to tell me I can go hike in the woods for like the whole summer kind of thing? I can go do that? That was all I needed to know. And then I researched and watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and make my own way, figure things out, and meet some awesome people.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
I like what you said in saying that you finally realized that you were free. What do you think it takes to find freedom within yourself?
To find it within yourself,
Or does it come from an exterior source for you?
well, I think everything comes from within. So the freedom is just, I think the freedom is always there. Like the sense of it is, how do we separate ourselves from that? How do we not become aware of our freedom? Because like people will say, as in, in our society, we'll say we have to go to work, but you don't have to go to work. I mean, you have to eat, yes, but you don't have to necessarily. You don't have to go to work. That's a choice. It may be beneficial for you, but it's still a choice to me.
Gotcha. So there is a lot of driving force behind you kind of coming out for the first time, and then you get to hiking and you just keep coming out here. You keep going on long trails. You've done the PC2 3 times. You've done the CDT, and now you're out here, going to finish your Triple Crown. What do you think it was that, and I know this is a very loaded question, but what do you think it was that kept bringing you out here? What were some of those things that you described to me a little earlier, saying that you learned a lot out here? I mean, what do you think kind of was encompassed within that?
It is a loaded question. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
Man, it's kind of like like they say, the bug bites you, and it bites hard. And there's something about being in nature that's just, it's really healing, and it lets you get rid of all of the distractions. There's like right now I'm hiking and I'm not like looking at my phone as much, and for charging batteries, it's been working pretty well. But then it also kind of helps, for me, it kind of helps with my own little inner guidance, being able to listen to that intuition, or that, that little voice that may tell you to go, takes a little bit more to the step to the left or something, so you don't get hit by this car and you have no idea how it happened. Once I cut out a lot of those, like social media, YouTube videos, just a bunch of stuff that I just realized I was connected to through my phone. I get out here, I don't have to use it that much. I can use it for navigation here and there, use it to know where my water's at and this. So I really get down to the basic, and it just strips everything away. So now when I meet people, I get to meet the authentic them. It's something that I can see in them in the quote unquote real world, but they're gonna have a lot of filters up. There's so many titles and identities that we walk around with, but if you strip all those away, who are you? And I just look at people as another reflection of myself, and regardless of wherever they're at in life, I've been somewhere near there, or getting ready to go there, or might be there then. So I don't know, man. It's the thing that keeps me coming out here, is I know how good it is for me, and I get to meet other people, and I get to see where they are, and I get to help them see things a little bit differently too. I get to help them see, since I have a little bit of experience, I can tell them, you may not, do you think you need that? Is that, are you packing your fear, or are you packing something you need? It's a rewarding thing. I love to watch people grow. I love to watch growth. And it's a magical experience all the way around.
Yeah. I liked what you were saying about other people and seeing them as kind of a reflection of yourself. I think for me personally, it makes it a lot easier to empathize with other people. When you see we can acknowledge the good qualities in ourselves, but we have to admit that a lot of those we can be found within other people too.
Yeah.
So that's really a reason to have hope always. And I'm glad that you found that out here. I'm curious, given all of your like history. I know earlier you're saying that you were in the gym a lot. You're playing lots of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I miss a lot about being out here. Is I'm a hooper, somewhat. I like to play basketball.
Right.
And while I'm here in the mountains, I'm missing out on some of that competitive fire.
Mm-hmm.
At least me, that's how I feel personally.
Right.
Do you feel like that plays a part in your hiking? Do you feel like some of the competitiveness of like as a young man that you had then, does that translate onto the trail now?
No,
No.
no, that was I don't know. I kind of associate like competition with conflict,
Mm-hmm.
and I just got to a point in my life where I was fighting everything, so I just stopped fighting anything. Just let things be. Now, but like basketball and like that, the competition. I don't miss the competition, but I did have a chance to go out with my father this last winter, and he does like pictures for high school basketball teams. So I do love the fun parts of it, the fun gaming aspects of it. But I don't miss the competition, because like now it's like I'm not trying to be better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be better than who I was 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be better than who I was yesterday. And as long as I'm doing that, it really doesn't matter to me what anybody else is doing,
Yeah.
because they're living their life and I'm hiking my own hike.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that? What would you call that? Would you say that that's just growth?
I would say that's growth.
That progression.
Yeah, I would say. For me, I would say that was growth. Yeah, because I was competitive, but it was like I want to be better than you, kind of thing. And when I break that down to myself, like if I'm wanting to be better than somebody else, then I'm not acknowledging my own awesomeness, my own inner divineness, because I'm sitting and worrying about what somebody else is doing rather than either bettering myself or loving myself the way I am, because I'm the one I have to spend the most of my life with.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. So we're out here, and this is the AT. It's a lot different from the CDT, and I'm sure in most places, and the PCT. I'm curious what your experience has been overall since you've been out here. If you kind of just had to summarize it.
Mind blowing, to be honest. I mean, yeah, there's climbs, right, and that's what a lot of people are talking about, especially like right now, it's the uphills and this. But it's the people that are awesome. And what's the question again? Hold on before I lose it.
No, I was just asking what's the experience been like on the Appalachian Trail so far
Experience
for you?
It's been mind blowing. Yeah, the community. I've seen a lot of views. I was told there's no views, and I know I'm hiking a little early. But I've had some views, and it's like the old saying, the best views come from the hardest ups, the hardest elevation gain. And I've had views, I've had awesome people, I've had great community, and I've only hiked 69 miles of it so far. So, like, how much better can that get? What else can go right, kind of thing. And I don't know. I just look forward to getting my mind blown for the rest of the trail. So, yeah. I see a lot of what my friends have been telling me. I see what they're talking about. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm loving it right now.
That's awesome. Would you say that there's anything in particular that you're searching for yourself, or wanting to learn about yourself or about anything in general on this Appalachian Trail journey, maybe as compared to the PCT and those other hikes? You're back out here again, so is there anything that you're looking for in particular on this hike?
I mean, yes. The idea of triple crowning sounds fun. It sounds fun to go on and cap the accomplishment. But actually, right now, a lot of, like I was telling you earlier about, cutting out the electronics and really starting to listen into that, to my inner guidance kind of thing. That's my main thing. So it may sound a little weird, but I'll walk down the trail, and I don't tell anybody this. You're the only person I'm telling this, and whoever you share it with. But when I walk down the trail, I no longer look at my phone to see how far I have to go. I stop, I breathe, hand on the chest. I gather myself, which might take a little bit because there's some uphills up there. And then I just ask myself, like, how much further are we going? What's the best thing? Like, even what's the best thing to think about right now? What's the best thing for me to focus on? Because through a lot of things that I've studied recently, without going too like crazy, is like there's this Dr. Joe Dispenza guy that he kind of sums it up pretty well for the medical community. It's like basically your personality creates your personal reality through the things that you think about, the things that you focus on, and how you feel. And those things create your experience on this planet. And your things you think about, things you focus, things you feel, those are the only things that that I have any control over. I have no control over if a tree falls, but if the tree falls and it scares me, I get to choose how I want to react or respond to that. So I've just been trying to be a little bit more present with myself and listening to that guidance, which also requires, like, I'm not hiking with anybody. Like, I'll hike around people and I'll talk to people, and because I love being the social aspect of it. But right now I'm keeping the outside noise down to a minimum. It's like a spiritual evolution.
Would you say that there's a lot of noise at this point on the trail?
Oh yeah. See, if there's a shelter, people are talking about what's the weather. They're not trying to down anybody or anything, but they're not present in the moment, as far as I could see, because they're worrying about what's the weather going to be like tomorrow. It's like there's a sunset right here. The weather tomorrow is going to be the weather tomorrow. You're at the shelter. You're either going to stay here or you're going to hike. So yeah, just to be present. And be real present with myself, real present with my environment, and the forest is a great place to do that.
It seems like when you're, it sounds like what you've observed, at least from other people, is that through your words and through your focus and how you spend your time and energy, that can create an experience, an alternate kind of experience. How am I trying to articulate this? From what it sounds like is when people are not present and not aware of what's happening around them now, and it's easy to kind of get fixated on the negative things, in particular the negative things ahead.
Yeah.
I've heard it in shelters as well. You hear folks talking about the Smokies and what's going to go on there, and then you'll probably hear it the rest of the way up, hearing about the whites in New England and how hard that is. But it's really beautiful where we're at now.
Yeah.
Like, this is wonderful, and each part of the trail I've discovered has its own beauty and charm to offer. And I feel like people in your camp, I feel like yourself, you're going to, at the end of the day, take that all in and experience it because you're here.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. So do you plan to continue this lifestyle you've been living? Is it something that you think is sustainable for you, that you'd want to have in your future? More hikes?
For me, it's evolving. That's what a lot of this my spiritual evolution is about. So it will be part of my life going forward. Part of my lifestyle. I'll be part of the community, but I will definitely be in a different capacity. Yeah. So that's about the most I could say about it without trying to give things away. But yeah, I'm working on some pretty big things. It's going to be awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So Is there anything in particular that you've encountered a lot of new hikers. We're only 69 miles into this trail. Um, have you been able to speak into anyone's hike? Maybe not their hike, but maybe even their life while you've been out here on trail? And could you think of maybe one minor example without going into too much detail?
I think where we are right now is in the hike is because like a lot of people are not really present, so they have a lot of barriers up still. There are a lot of masks and things that they think they are that it's breaking down. And I noticed that it does that throughout the trail. The trail just kind of strips you of all the things that you think you are, and lets you be what you truly are. So I don't. I've tried to like reach out to people. There's some wounded warriors out there that a warrior expedition, and I made myself available to all of them, but they don't know who I am or anything like that, or know the kind of gifts that I might have right now. So what I kind of do at the moment is I'll just draw some stuff in the trail that I know that people behind me are going to see. Like I'll draw a heart. I'll put "You got this" on an uphill. Just anything encouraging, or something that can make them smile, just to take whatever little edge off and pull them out of whatever headspace they're in. And that's just pretty much how I kind of try to speak to them right now. And I may see him at a shelter, may see him in town. We may share some stories. But yeah, now I can't. Right now, they're going to be listening to like the outfitters. They're going to tell them what gear they need to bring, and whatnot. My help for them will just come a little bit later, for the ones that are a good vibrational match for it.
Have people sought you? I mean, who maybe have understood a little bit of who you are and what your experience has been? Have people sought help from you?
Oh yeah. I'm one of the things I do outside of hiking whenever I want is life coaching. So people seek me out, and people can seek me out. I love to help people. Like I said, I like to watch them grow, and when they're ready, I'm ready to help them.
Gotcha. Oh. So maybe more specifically for the people that would be watching this on the internet, a lot of them have never hiked before or are wanting to hike.
Right.
And they're wanting to come out here and experience everything that we've experiencing and that we are experiencing. You've said a lot already, man. And
talk a lot.
And I appreciate your words. They're very encouraging to me and to a lot of other people. But if you had to give one piece of advice, solicited advice to somebody who is looking to come out here and wants to maximize their journey on this trip, on this hike, what would you say to those people?
Well, the hardest step anybody's going to take is that first one, the decision to do it, and lining up with that decision. And once you pass that, I know there's going to be a lot of head talking, going to be in your head a lot, but if you just stop and just think that you've already made the hardest step, then everything else is going to be easy. Even when it's hard, just remember you already did the hardest step, was to make the decision to go out there, to take that first step on trail. That even if say you're going to start with somebody and somebody backs out, but you still want to do it, do it. You're only gonna, if you're going to maximize your experience out here, or in just regular life, focus on the things that light you up. I think if you focus on that, then you have more things that light you up. And if you have more things that light you up, that sounds like a satisfying life. So that's what I would say to anybody that is thinking about it, wants to do it, do it. If you think that you want to do it, then it wants you to do it. Just think that the trail in the woods, if you want to be out there in it, it might want you to be out there too. You may go through some things. You may learn something about yourself. You're going to grow a lot. It may be uncomfortable. I guarantee you, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great experience.
Well, man, I appreciate your time, and I wish I had. I wish we had a lot more daylight and probably several more interviews to spend with you, man, because yeah, I've learned a lot from you during this time, and man, I'm happy you stopped by the hostel
Too.
and that we got a chance to meet, and I'm excited for you, your future, and your hike ahead of you. Yeah, man, thanks again. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Well, appreciate you.
that's a
Yep.
wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.